dive into the viral hit Manhwa. No interruptions, just pure hype. Your support fuels the fire. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. It truly means the world to us. Reborn as an infant, every drop of milk makes me stronger. By 3 months, I'd kicked 10,000 times, crawling and catching roaches. At 4 months, running by 5. My secret? A cheat system from another world. Focus training on one body part and its strength becomes limitless. But the world I was reborn into, though still called Earth, it's mutated into a nightmare filled with terrifying unknown creatures. They call them mutated beasts. To survive, humanity forged 2 distinct paths of evolution: gene fusion merging with beast DNA and mechanical augmentation. To beat monsters, you must become one. Some choose to fight magic with magic, while others believe the flesh is weak. They embrace the machine, using high-tech cybernetics to transcend human limits and crush the beasts. Luckily, with my cheat system, I just need to lie low and evolve to survive this chaos. Soon, new neighbors moved in next door with a young daughter named Shen King. At that moment, I had no idea our destinies would be permanently intertwined. Through relentless training and the use it or lose it buff, I was running by 7 months. I'd already mastered jumping and basic speech. By the 8th month, I took it even further. I started grinding for 6-pack ABS in secret, but my parents eventually caught a glimpse. The sight was so absurd they thought they were hallucinating. But those were definitely real. My cover was nearly blown. Who ever heard of a baby with a shredded core? Luckily, Dad just assumed I was a once-in-a-generation genius, and this world has plenty of those. The news reported a 2-year-old prodigy from a martial arts clan lifting 20-kilogram dumbbells. Mum wasn't impressed. She knew I would eventually surpass all those so-called geniuses. Spurred on, I pushed harder. Thanks to my skill, I could lift 20 kilograms by age 2. Meanwhile, Shen Kingen was still babbling and acting like a typical, confused toddler. Our mental gap was there was no way we could just play together. She did make a perfect training weight, though even if she did leak on me occasionally. By age 3, 40 kilograms felt light. At this point, I was already ahead of the curve. I had surpassed the famous prodigy, yet my biological rank was still stuck at common level 1. Curious about how to break through, I finally stepped outside my front door for the first time. I saw the real-world cyborgs and gene modders everywhere. My destination: the city library. Forbidden from using electronics, the library was my only source for the answers I craved. As I read the true scale of this mutated Earth, ancient tablets revealed 6 biological ranks: common, advanced, rare, epic, legendary, and mythic. Each rank is split into 9 tiers. I was only at the very beginning of the ladder. A tier 1 human is nothing but an ant compared to higher-level beings. I needed more power. I realized I had to accelerate my growth just to have a chance at surviving this world. After reading 100 million words, I unlocked a hidden talent. Now, I train both mind and body. At age 4, my kindergarten journey officially began. That same year, I reached common level 2, lifting 80 kilograms with a single hand. That's impressive even for an adult. Meanwhile, poor Kingen was being teased by the other kids. With great power comes great responsibility. I jumped onto the teacher's desk and let out a roar. Pipe down. If anyone calls her a bedwetter again. The kids were terrified, but Kingen looked at me with pure adoration. Alpha move successful. I unexpectedly earned the Kindergarten King title and finished my reading quest shortly after. With the heavenly wisdom trait, my learning capacity had officially reached the peak of humanity. Time moved fast. Before I knew it, we were 7 and graduating from kindergarten. During the break before school, I pushed my training past its limits. I could lift 200 kilograms one-handed and run sub-8 seconds. Gifted with a divine root, I mastered the entire elementary curriculum. School began, but I was already studying high school levels. I crushed every competition. In my free time, I tutored Shen Qing'an to sharpen her. Though not gifted, her diligence earned her second place in class. I was first, of course. I shattered every sports record easily. My peaceful routine broke when a mysterious transfer student arrived. She felt different. I sensed an aura that wasn't human. Her presence carried an eerie chill from another world. A strange scent and cold nature made the others shun her. I was intrigued. Her inhuman energy caught my attention immediately. Bai Zhu was beautiful, but her secret nature fascinated me more. She sat motionless daily, eventually becoming a ghost in class. Students stopped caring until a month later, when things changed. A strange white liquid began secreting from her skin. The foul odor turned the class's pity into open disgust. A bully poured water on her, mocking her smell cruelly. Instead of raging, the ice-cold girl broke down in tears. They laughed, but they had crossed a line I couldn't ignore. I stepped forward and gripped the leader's shoulder firmly. He yielded instantly. My reputation for power was already legendary. Even seniors feared me. I ordered the bullies to apologize now. They lined up, trembling as they begged for her forgiveness. Bai Zhu thanked me, and Shen Qing'an reached out to. We became friends, and Bai Zhu finally shared her deepest fears. She wondered why we didn't hate her like everyone else. To her, this friendship felt like a beautiful, impossible dream. Shen Qing'an promised we would be best friends forever. Crying, Bai Zhu took off her necklace to give to us. You were kind to me. Please, take this gift. She gave us beast fangs, a birthday gift from her mother. We accepted them, swearing an oath of eternal friendship. But suddenly, Bai Zhu vanished, transferring without a word. A cyborg led her away, under a top-secret clearance. Her records were classified. Bai Zhu was no ordinary girl. She was gone, a mysterious memory of our childhood years. Soon, news from the capital brought a new, rising threat. A 10-year-old prodigy fused with beast genes. Seeing gene fusion at such a young age was startling. That fusion quintupled his power, turning him into a weapon. Yet, at 8, my natural power is already terrifyingly high. Without any fusion, I already lift 300 My potential is far superior. I am the true monster here. I felt confident about the future. That was, until the news taught me the true meaning of terror. A neighbor nation suffered a brutal beast attack. Footage revealed giants beyond imagination. I witnessed the sheer power of cyborgs. Monsters I couldn't touch were obliterated in seconds. Moments earlier, the Zykan had seen the chilling reports of the beast invasion. Investigations proved a sinister cult called the First was fueling the chaos. The Sakura Kingdom pleaded for aid against this anti-human organization, known as the First Cult. These traitors served the beasts for profit, sowing destruction within the human world. Zykan lived in a powerful nation, but a sudden sonic boom shattered the peace. Sensing danger, he rushed to the window to see what was happening. Cyborgs filled the sky. He could only pray the nightmare wasn't real. Morning came. While waiting for Han, his beast tooth charm began to glow. He realized then it wasn't just a souvenir, but a fragment of a real monster. He'd felt a strange energy before, but he never expected it to awaken. Between the cyborg patrol and the glowing tooth. On their way, a red-haired woman suddenly blocked their path. Are you siblings? She asked. Han clarified they were childhood sweethearts. At those words, a sinister, predatory smile crept across the woman's face. Where are your parents? She probed. Why are you two all alone? Zikan pulled Han away, warning her never to trust such strangers. He told her straight. Never answer questions from people who approach like that. To be safe, he took a different route home. But in a secluded alley, the woman reappeared. She had been stalking them. Suddenly, a man stepped out from the shadows behind her. Without a word, he These traffickers were looking for a quick score. Zycon dropped into a stance and drove a fist into the man's chest. The man flew back like a cannonball. The woman was paralyzed with shock. Before she could react, Zycon delivered a crushing blow to her face. There were no cameras here. He decided to eliminate the threat permanently. Suddenly, the ground trembled as a primal roar echoed through the alley. The titan from the news appeared a behemoth. In one horrific snap, the giant beast bit the woman clean in half. As the traffickers became food, Zycon grabbed Han and ran for his life. He needed safety. Suddenly, a cyborg interceptor descended from the clouds. She engaged the beast. Zycon watched as she hovered above its head. Her mechanical limbs hummed with energy as she aimed her cannons. A barrage of tranquilizer shells rained down. I'm just a student, yet I can lift 700 kilos matching elite. But, against a titan of this scale, I was nothing but prey. The cyborg warrior didn't relent, unloading a final, devastating mechanical assault. With a single, precision strike, she slit its throat. Watching her, I realized she wasn't even a high-ranked warrior. It took 7 minutes of brutal combat to kill one weakened monster. That thing was luck saved us. I had to train harder to survive in this dangerous world. Soon, Hannon and I turned 9, praying for a future we could protect. Empowered by my innate celestial talent, I hand-carved a wooden hairpin to serve as a special gift. Life remained peaceful as I claimed the elementary king title and awakened the survival of the fittest talent. I pushed my limits with grueling training during the summer break. Then, on the eve of middle school, my biological rank finally reached Tier 3. Right as I broke through, news of a Kyoto prodigy shook the media. At just 14, he fused with colossal strength, allowing him to lift 2,000 kilograms of alloy with one hand. Currently, my limit is 700 kilograms. Once I fuse genes, my strength could skyrocket eightfold. I can't wait. My middle school journey finally began. Thanks to my legendary performance in primary school, elite institutions scouted me. I accepted the invitation from Shanghai Middle School, but only on the condition that Han joined me. Shanghai had world-class facilities. So Han and I met for a badminton match before the term started. Our game was cut short by uninvited guests. You're the new blood, right? They sneered, looking for a fight. They claimed the court for the upperclassmen and began harassing Han. My expression turned cold instantly. I reminded them of the rules, but their leader refused to budge. Insisting on taking the court by force. Fine. I would settle this my way. I roared, swinging my racket with overwhelming force. The shuttlecock tore through the air with a sonic boom, shredding his racket and piercing his hat clean through. The trio was paralyzed with fear. The power I displayed was far beyond anything a normal human could possess. They bowed in frantic apology and fled. Word of the incident spread, ensuring no one ever bullied me again. Having already mastered the entire curriculum, I spent my classes lost in the pages of my own books. I spent my nights training and learning new skills online, all to unlock the middle school tyrant title. Before I knew it, an entire semester had flown by in the blink of an eye. I didn't get the title, but I somehow gained a massive following of fans. I had no interest in them. Between tutoring Han and my training, I focused all my energy on the upcoming school sports festival. I figured that dominating the 3 major athletic categories would finally unlock the middle school tyrant title. I took first place with ease. The moment I grasped my final medal, a surge of raw power erupted within me. I finally did it. I unlocked the middle school tyrant title and gained the biological attribute, survival of the fittest. A single tentacle cost nearly 1,000 yuan. It wasn't ordinary meat, but the remains of a ghost shadow squid. Despite the steep price, I gritted my teeth and bought it. My new title had changed my path forever. Survival of the fittest elevated my life source above all living things, though its true nature remained a mystery. The system said I could devour others to evolve, but I didn't understand what life source actually meant. Clarity struck when I touched Hanhan's beast tooth necklace. The moment we made contact, energy surged through me. I felt a strange energy fluctuation within my body, followed by the crisp sound of a system notification. You have devoured the abyssal giant butterfly's life source. Total evolution required the progress bar to reach 100%. I could inherit the beast's skills, but I knew nothing about this butterfly. I rushed home to search for answers. My search turned up nothing. It seemed I would have to uncover the mysteries of these beasts on my own. I devoured another tooth from my bag, bringing the progress to 2%. It was still far too low. I felt a pang of disappointment. The essence in these teeth was pitiful. I needed a more efficient way to evolve. To intensify my training, I began cycling Hanhan to school daily. He'd seen my dominance at the sports festival and was determined to recruit me for the martial arts team. He left before I could even refuse. Back home, I tried testing my talent on mosquitoes, but it failed. Weak creatures couldn't trigger my talent. Only powerful mutant beasts possessed enough life source. To test my theory, I headed to the city's high-end mall to find a supermarket selling beast meat. But everything was vacuum sealed. Without direct physical contact, I couldn't absorb anything. Then, I saw a butcher. He was actively carving fresh beast meat. I hurried toward the stall, my heart racing with anticipation. I completely forgot about Hanhan as I reached for the raw meat with a trembling hand. My theory was right. The meat was overflowing with vibrant life source. I quickly regained my composure. I pretended to be a customer and bought the cheapest option available. Hanhan looked worried, muttering that it was too expensive. I quickly told him not to stress. My mum had actually insisted I buy plenty to bring back. I told him his family should come over to taste it, as we were preparing a feast. Even though it cost 3,000 to bring that beast meat home, I couldn't help but feel a pang of regret as I left. This stuff was insanely pricey. By the time I finished the purchase, darkness had already fallen. I decided to head straight home, but my curiosity got the better of me. I wanted to see if absorbing its life essence would ruin the meat's quality. As soon as my hand touched the shadow squid meat, I successfully siphoned its life essence with ease. However, the shadow squid's entry in my talent manual only nudged up by 0.01%. Suddenly, a memory of a powerful woman flashed by opening her armor's core, completing a full energy charge in the blink of an eye before obliterating a terrifying monster. Back to reality. I realized my survival of the fittest talent had consumed the essence of a small portion of squid meat. Yet, the progress was stuck at 0.1. At a market price of $998 per pound, reaching 100% to unlock its skill would cost at least $100,000. The price was steep, but the shadow squid's ability to dissolve into water and vanish, incredible. Gaining such a power would be worth every penny. For now, with my current resources, this was the only high-tier meat I could afford. I couldn't ask my family for that kind of money. I'd have to earn it myself. I then remembered my main goal, testing if the meat would actually rot after I drained its life essence. Once I had completely siphoned every drop of essence from that specific piece, the texture remained perfectly unchanged. I was so thrilled by this discovery that I nearly collided with a passerby on the street. I was so focused on the essence that I stopped paying attention to the road. Suddenly, Hanhan shouted, "Look, it's Ms. Strawberry." Following his gaze, I saw a group of officers trying to negotiate with a criminal. The captain signaled his men to hold their fire and stay calm. The thug was using a hostage as a shield while moving constantly. Abin suggested using sleeping gas before things turned lethal, but the captain immediately shot the idea down. "No, the gas is too obvious," he snapped. "If it doesn't work instantly, he'll panic and do something desperate." That's when I spotted a stone on the ground. With a precise throw, It whistled past Abin's ear and struck the criminal's knife hand with perfect accuracy. Seeing the opening, the captain ordered his team to move in for the arrest. The rescue was flawless, and the thug was quickly restrained. Seeing that Ms. Strawberry was safe, I tried to pull Hunhan away and head home. But the sharp-eyed captain shouted, "Wait right there. Hey kid, was that your stone?" Not wanting any trouble, I waved my hands and lied. As I tried to bolt, the captain looked confused. That's strange. Why would someone run away after doing something so heroic? Usually, people want the reward money. At the mention of money, I skidded to a halt. I did a full 180 and sprinted back, even faster than I'd left. Wait, I just remembered, I said shamelessly. That was definitely my stone. The captain stared at me, speechless. Fine, kid. Come back to the station for a statement. I'll help you file for that reward. After calling our families, Han and I prepared to follow them. We locked our bikes in the park, but of course, destiny had other plans. The criminal's body began to contort and mutate violently. It turned out he was a cultist, undergoing a horrific transformation into a giant beast. Before anyone could react, the monster lunged forward. The captain scrambled to call for reinforcements while the other officers opened fire, raining bullets upon the creature. Without a second thought, I grabbed Miss Strawberry and Han, turning tail to run for our lives. Survival was the only priority now. Fortunately, I was fast enough that the beast didn't follow. Just as I caught my breath, a cyborg flew directly over my head. I watched as a female mechanical soldier delivered a devastating kick straight to the monster's face, sending it flying 10 meters back. She quickly deployed her chest plates, and her laser cannons began to hum with lethal energy. In an instant, 2 beams of purple light erupted. The beast had no time to dodge as its flesh disintegrated into nothingness. I stood there, awestruck. The power of a high-tier cyborg was truly on a different level. On the bright side, the battle didn't wreck my bike, or I would have been devastated. However, I soon noticed that the shadow squid meat had finally started to spoil. I sighed in disappointment. It seemed absorbing the life essence did ruin the meat. The decay was just delayed. I needed an excuse for the spoiled meat, so I slammed it onto the ground with feigned frustration. Damn heretic, I cursed. That cyborg's explosive attack must have scorched the meat to ruin. We wanted to head home, but the captain insisted we go to the station to give our statements. To my surprise, the heretic's charred remains were also in the car. Nothing. The stench was revolting, but a bold thought surfaced. If Beast Fangs held life essence, what about this? Could I devour the Don gene from these remains? Was there still power lingering in the corpse? Touching those tentacles had caused decay before. Now, my talent for devouring beast essence was calling to me. Staring at the pile of ashes, I felt an uncontrollable. Seizing the moment, I secretly reached out and touched the scorched remains of the giant beast. Instantly, a violent surge of life force flooded my body. This was far more intense than before. Just devouring those ashes pushed my giant beast compendium progress straight to 5%. I realized then that freshness is everything. The fresher the kill, the more essence I can absorb. Later at the station, the captain mentioned a reward, but his eyes were filled with deep suspicion. How could a mere middle schooler hit a target so precisely in the pitch black from that distance? I played it off with a shrug, claiming my right hand was just well trained from constant daily exercise. Before he could pry further, Hannon arrived with my parents. Mum rushed toward me the moment she saw me. She pulled me into a tight embrace. I quickly assured her I was fine and even getting a reward. But she gripped my hand tight, pleading with me to just hide in a safe place. Next time. I only want to see you grow up safe and sound, she whispered. Deeply moved, I walked away with her, but as we left, I overheard chilling news about the cult. The Rat God cult was growing bolder, and word was they had already infiltrated the local universities. They were targeting students who couldn't get gene fusion officially, luring them into their dark web. Tonight's victim was one of those students. Simply killing the pawns wasn't going to solve the problem. To end this nightmare, the self-proclaimed Rat King has to fall. I began researching the cult immediately. Their lair was right here in Shanghai City, a hive filled with society's desperate and forgotten out. A theory formed. Was the Rat King gathering resources to evolve into a higher, more dangerous life form? Had it already awakened its spiritual essence? The thought sent a cold shiver down my spine. Suddenly, I spotted a rat larger than a cat nearby. Was it somehow connected to the Rat King? I shook the thought off. This is the South, after all. Monstrous rats are practically a local feature. I noticed Han was unusually quiet. I couldn't help but wonder. Was it that situation again? Whenever he's stressed, his bladder fails him. But I sensed this condition might be a hidden potential. Back home, Mum's expressions soured the moment she realized I had lost the expensive meat. I explained it was a life-or-death emergency. Thankfully, she didn't scold me for the loss. Just as I thought I was in the clear, Dad suddenly suggested going back to scavenge the meat. I scrambled to stop him. Meanwhile, the captain was still obsessed with how I threw that stone. A piercing, high-pitched screech suddenly shattered the silence. A massive rat lunged from the shadows. The captain reacted instantly. Life returned to normal the next day, but my mind was still racing over the events of the night. Compared to those ratmen, that cyborg girl was weak. I need money to unlock Ghost Shadow Fuss. Scholarships were too slow. I considered becoming an academic influencer or even a live streamer, but that was way too high. Fame brings a kind of trouble I'm not ready for yet. Then I realized I was looking at it all wrong. In this world, martial arts is the ultimate currency. Combat tournament prizes dwarf academic rewards. It was time to finally make my move. I headed straight for the gym and found Teacher Guo taking a quick water break. Seeing my sudden arrival, his eyes lit up with immediate excitement and curiosity. "Are you thinking of joining the martial arts team?" I leaned in and asked in a low voice, wanting to know if joining would give me a chance to enter the citywide martial arts tournaments, and if the prize money was high. Teacher Guo smirked with pride. "Of course, you'll have a chance. And the rewards aren't small. A single award can net you tens of thousands of dollars." Hearing that, I immediately gripped Teacher Guo's hand and declared that from this day forward, I was officially a member of the team. The school beauty personally offered me a bottle of milk. I just pulled my childhood friend away. Little did I know, this move would unexpectedly trigger my fourth talent attribute quest. Not long ago, I joined the team just to earn prize money for beast meat, hoping to unlock more of my system's atlas. Soon after, the instructor gathered everyone together to introduce the squad. As the members briefly shared their names, one by one. Since I had never practiced martial arts before, Teacher Guo gave me a live demonstration of basic fist and leg techniques. Once he finished, he gestured for me to give it a try. I took a deep breath, sharpening my focus to replicate the movements I had just seen. Thanks to the innate wisdom that granted me a photographic memory, Teacher Guo's every move was already burned into my mind. Replicating his fist technique was effortless, and as I practiced, my various attributes began to slowly climb. Teacher Guo watched in total disbelief, noting that, while others take at least a week to learn this, I had mastered it perfectly after seeing it just once. In that moment, he saw me as nothing less than a once-a-million martial arts prodigy. The scene shifts as Mum calls me over for dinner, and I come charging in. She proudly served her specialty dish, the ghost shadow squid. As that mouth-watering aroma hit my nose, I couldn't help but gasp. I couldn't wait to take a big bite. Mum immediately leaned in and asked how it tasted. I quickly told her that her cooking was easily the best food in the entire world. To my surprise, I realized that eating beast meat directly. Just then, a news report on the TV caught my full attention. A genius girl was shocking the nation. At only 14, she had successfully fused with the Energy Star, becoming the youngest mechanical cyborg in history. When her core was active, she could lift 2,000 kilograms with one hand. She could sprint 100 meters in 3 seconds and jump 8 meters high. I wondered, between the old Kyoto prodigy and this new genius, who was truly the strongest. But then, another tragic news report followed. Security Captain He Chunshin had been killed in his office late last night, a victim of a giant mutated beast that had managed to sneak into the security station. My face instantly darkened. Could it be? Was it that same giant rat I encountered the night before? To protect myself, I pushed through intense training sessions. My 100-meter sprint time soon hit for seconds. My vertical jump reached 5.5 meters. And I could lift 1,000 kilograms. I continued my martial arts drills every day, preparing for the upcoming competition. The next morning, I headed to the gymnasium to learn new techniques and keep practicing. Out of curiosity, Han decided to come along with me. Suddenly, a senior girl appeared right in front of us. Asking if I'd had breakfast yet. I brought you some milk, it's fresh. But I just pulled Hanan away, leaving behind a simple thanks for the offer. This scene was caught by a simp senior who was fuming with rage. Not only did I steal his championship at the school games, but now I was rejecting his goddess's gift, determined to teach me a lesson. He blocked my path and accused me of being incredibly rude. I simply told him I was allergic to milk, which made him so angry he threw down a challenge. I was going to refuse, but a sudden task prompt appeared. In a formal competition, use the most primitive biological methods to eliminate 1,000 different rivals. The reward, a rare biological attribute. Seeing that reward, I accepted his challenge without a second thought. News of our duel quickly drew a crowd of beautiful seniors. The true combat strength of the school games champion, a girl with a ponytail, cheered for me, with a blush, pulled out her phone to take some cool photos. The senior was seething, convinced I was going to lose. He figured he'd crush this talented junior before I had a chance to grow. Seeing him smirking to himself, I was honestly speechless. I still had to go home for dinner, so could we just finish this quickly? The senior burst into laughter, mocking me, as he agreed. Since we were in a hurry, Teacher Gua signaled for the match to begin. But the senior suddenly shouted, "Wait, you've only been here a month. To keep things fair, I'll give you 3 free moves." Hearing that, I instantly lunged at him and threw a devastating punch. One devastating punch sends that simp senior flying. By the time he hits the ground, he's foaming at the mouth and completely unconscious. Teacher Guo is frozen in pure disbelief. What? It ended in a single blow. To me, it was nothing more than a casual swing. But that one strike sent the Ice Queen beauty into a frenzy. While my childhood friend couldn't stop gushing about how cool I was, all because I'd flattened that senior in a heartbeat. The entire martial arts team stood there with their jaws on the floor. I'd basically earned legendary status instantly, but I wasn't satisfied just yet. To complete my system mission, I still needed to crush 999 more opponents. My gaze shifted toward the other seniors. I casually asked if anyone else wanted to spar. Panic immediately set in as they all scrambled to find excuses to run away. Meanwhile, the fallen senior struggled back to his feet, refusing to accept his defeat and desperately demanding a rematch. But Teacher Gua cut him off. "Junkai, no, when you've lost. Let's let Zhao Li test Zai Chan's limits instead." "Zhao Li, you're up." Poor Zhao Li, who was just about to slip away, nearly jumped out of his skin. Forced into the ring, he squared up with a heavy heart. Even though I held back significantly to keep the fight going, I realized the system only recorded my official victory over Jonkai. It turns out, casual sparring was useless for my mission progress. Suddenly, Teacher Gu's heavy hand landed on my shoulder. "Zi-chan, You're our new A's. This year's district championship is ours for the taking. My heart raced with excitement. That meant a goldmine of opponents to defeat. Every victory in that arena would skyrocket my mission. In this world, you either master the pen or the sword. And for me, the martial arts path was the only choice. To keep up, Han joined my grueling training regimen. We started every morning with their intense 3-kilometer run, followed by an hour of sharpening our combat techniques to perfect every strike and master our footwork. Then came sit-ups and push-ups to forge a body of steel. After every session, I'd help her relax those aching muscles, but with the tournament looming, I doubled my training intensity. Desperate to finally unlock the legendary natural selection attribute, time flew by, and soon, the day of the competition arrived. But luck wasn't on our side for the brackets. Our first opponent was Shanghai First Hythe District Titans. Rumor had it, they had a monster who could clear 100 meters in under 9 seconds. While the others felt like lambs to the slaughter, I stepped forward. "I'll go first," I declared. Teacher Guo didn't hesitate to agree. After all, he had total confidence in my newfound strength. As Han and the teacher cheered my name, my opponent stepped out. A giant standing nearly 7 feet tall. He immediately mocked my height, calling me a midget and promising to show me the crushing reality of physical power. The referee gave the signal, and the match began. The giant roared and charged toward me like a runaway freight train. I effortlessly sidestepped his charge and delivered a feather-like palm to his chest. In an instant, his massive frame was sent soaring through the air. He crashed outside the ring, and the ref declared my victory. Han's cheers erupted from the stands in pure joy. The team's despair vanished instantly. His muscles were just for show. They joked. But the opposing coach was absolutely fuming. "Footwork!" he screamed at his team. "Stop charging like mindless bulls, and actually use your techniques." I couldn't help but grin. That win just bumped up my mission counter by 1 point. Desperate, the enemy coach signaled their strongest fighter, Chunfeng, to end me as quickly as possible. Chunfeng stepped onto the mat, his eyes locked on mine. The referee's hand dropped. "Begin." Chunfeng exploded forward, spinning like a whirlwind. Right at my head. I simply ducked under the gale and tapped him with a single palm. He became a human top, spinning uncontrollably out of the ring. Another heavy landing, another easy win. But my effortless victories were starting to annoy the crowd. "How does that Shanghai kid have such insane luck?" they grumbled. "His opponents are just falling out of the ring on their own. It's a fix. Refund our money." Only the opposing coach saw the terrifying truth. This wasn't luck, it was overwhelming power. He gritted his teeth and looked at his last hope. "Gao Fei, it's all on you. Focus purely on defense, do not attack. Whatever you do, you cannot lose this match." Gao Fei walked up with supreme confidence. "Don't worry, coach. This win is already mine." He thought he had me figured out. "Lindsay-chan isn't strong, he's just fast and tricky," he reasoned. "But with my speed, he won't touch me." The referee raised his hand and signaled the start of the final showdown. In a flash, Gao Fei blurred toward me, unleashing his flowing water rock, smashing fist. His coach nearly had a heart attack. "What are you doing?" "I told you to defend." I simply danced around his strikes, refusing to counter. This technique, it was actually quite interesting to watch. My goal was simple: observe and learn. To keep a genius like me, the principal offered anything I desired. Looking at my pouting childhood friend, I chose to remain her seatmate. But just moments ago, facing the relentless flowing water rock, crushing fist, analyzing every move, Gao Fei was starting to sweat. He couldn't even graze my clothes. Frustrated, he stopped and demanded an answer. "How are you dodging everything?" I remained silent, simply gesturing for him to show me his next technique. Thinking I was mocking him, his rage exploded into a flurry of strikes. But it was clear. This was his only trick. Bored, I decided to end this farce with a single flying kick. The impact was absolute silence. The crowd was stunned. My legendary 1v3 sweep had my teammates roaring in triumph. The following opponents were mere war. I single-handedly crushed Shanghai First High's entire team. Over the next 2 days, I dominated every match, bringing both rival schools to their knees. At last, I led Shanghai Middle School to the 8th school championship title, having personally eliminated 16 elite fighters. Yet, my ultimate quest was far from over, but the reward for this victory was sweet. Teacher Guo handed me 20,000 credits. Combined with my savings, I now sat on a small fortune of 30,000. I rushed to the market and bought a mountain of ghost shadow squid meat. After devouring 30 pounds of it, the Atlas progress hit 33%. By 8th grade, I broke through to Tier 4, my strength now exceeding 1,000 kilograms, a 5-meter vertical leap, and a 500-meter sprint in 4.4 seconds. Time blurred past. Han and I finally graduated. Soon, the life-altering results of the high school entrance exams arrived. I was ranked number 1 in both academics and combat. But while Hanan's grades were good, her combat score fell short. She missed the cutoff for the elite class. Heartbroken, she feared our days of attending school together were over. I grabbed her hand firmly. "Don't worry. My only condition for staying at Shanghai High is that you remain by my side." At that exact moment, the high school principal was at my house, hoping to secure my enrollment. He was desperate for me to stay at Shanghai. Before leaving, he made a final offer. "Name your price. Anything at all." I didn't hesitate for a second. I requested Hanan be in my class. The principal glanced at her with curiosity. "Report together on the first day," he laughed. We bowed in gratitude, with our future secured. I entered my final middle school martial arts tournament. As expected, it was a total walkover. I secured the championship for Shanghai once again. With the prize money in hand, it was time to fulfill my secret goal. I only needed 20% more to fully unlock the Ghost Shadow Squid Atlas. This haul of meat should do it. To avoid any unwanted attention during the awakening, I began the feast, devouring the beast meat like a predator. Finally, the progress bar hit 100%. Ding! Ghost Shadow Squid Atlas, fully unlocked. This skill grants absolute freedom in the water, making me a ghost beneath the waves. But as I read on, it felt a bit underwhelming. I hurried to a nearby pond to put this new power to the test. The water felt like silk. No flashy explosions. I suppose it makes sense. The Ghost Shadow Squid is just a low-tier beast after all. This was just the beginning. To gain legendary attributes, I'd need to save up or hunt stronger prey. Once I'm strong enough, I'll hunt the true titans of this world. Our families decided to take a graduation trip together. Seeking a place to master my water affinity, I suggested the beach. It was Hanan's first time seeing the ocean, and the cold waves made her shiver. As I dove in, I felt my stats surging. Seeing me enjoying the water, Han pouted. "Hey, don't just leave me here. Teach me how to swim." That's when it hit me. Han never actually learned how to swim. I began teaching her, though I worried her clumsy nature would make it difficult. To my shock, she picked it up instantly. She submerged her head into the crystal clear water. She realized she could dive with ease. Hopping back up, she squealed, "Xiao Chen, look at me. I'm a natural." They said the salt water would sting my eyes, but I can see everything perfectly. Oddly, I didn't feel any discomfort. The water felt cool and refreshing. But my childhood friend had a peculiar habit. Whenever she got nervous, she would wet herself. I assumed it was a physical defect, but she mastered swimming instantly. She'd even dove into the depths without any issues. It made me wonder, no matter how gifted a swimmer is, this level of performance was simply It was just too strange. Wait, ... Could it be because of that? Is the reason Shen Qing'an always wet the bed? Because she was born with an innate affinity. Water. This is unbelievable. Perhaps she possesses a legendary cultivation physique from a past life. To verify my hunch, I dove back into the depths with her. Once again, she left me speechless. We stayed submerged for over 10 minutes, and she didn't even break a sweat. Suddenly, however, her expression shifted. She felt something was off. A strange sound was echoing through the water. Terrified, she gripped my hand and signaled for us to surface immediately. Once we were safe on land, I asked her what happened. Why the sudden panic? She was still trembling. A bizarre haunting sound had filled her ears. Something truly but she couldn't understand the words. It was an unknown tongue, but it was definitely a woman's voice. The voice felt incredibly real, echoing relentlessly until the moment her head broke the water's surface. We retreated to the hotel to rest. I scoured the internet for answers, but found absolutely nothing useful. With no other choice, I focused on training. Surprisingly, I broke through to ordinary level 5, meaning I can now face adult mutated beasts. If I keep this up, tearing those monsters apart with my bare hands might actually be possible. I headed to a secluded beach to test my new limits. My 100-meter sprint clocked in at 3.6 seconds, and my vertical jump reached 7 meters. My single-arm lifting capacity hit 1,600 kilograms. Soon, high school finally began. And, luckily for me, my first day on duty triggered a brand new achievement task. By cooperating with others and completing 1,000 joint tasks, I'd earn the social animal attribute. Since the workload was light, I headed to the supermarket to scout for my next evolution target. That's when I saw it. A rare beast meat called the violent great condor. At $1,998 a pound, it was right at the limit of what I could afford. I've made my choice. The violent. This beast is a step above the ghost squid, boasting vision 30 times sharper than any human. It's an absolute predator. Its tracking is so precise it can snatch prey. If I can obtain that vision, my combat prowess will skyrocket. This beast is the perfect target for my devour skill and reasonably priced. I placed my hand on the meat and activated my power. Instantly, the violent great condor's progress bar reached 1%. 1 pound per percent, meaning I'll need over $200,000 to fully unlock its power. I'll have to dominate the high school martial arts scene to earn that prize money. The tournament stakes are much higher now. My goal is to fully awaken this power by my second year. And just like that, summer was over. My high school life had officially begun. On day 1, our new instructors arrived to introduce themselves. First was Han Yuanfang, our homeroom teacher and the master of martial arts cultivation. Then there was Sai Yunfei for cybernetic modification, Chang Bei for wilderness survival, and Lu Diren for gene fusion. Then, it was our turn. Before long, Shen Qing'an stood up, with every eye in the room on her. She was visibly trembling. Hello everyone, ... I enjoyed drawing, and ... I look forward to working with you all. When it was my turn, I kept it as brief as possible. I'm Lin Zicken, looking forward to it. Once the introductions wrapped up, the bell finally rang. Hanan, what was your score on the entrance exam? A girl with twin tails chirped. Shen Qing'an looked down shyly. I got 709 points. Sai Kuxing's eyes sparkled with admiration. Whoa, I only got 698. How was your physical test? I actually messed up and only got 95 points. Hearing that, Shen Qingyan froze. A perfect physical score was 100, but she had only managed a... She was too embarrassed to even whisper it. But Chu Xing wouldn't let it go. Come on, tell me, was it a 94 or a 93? As Qingyan's face turned pale, I slammed my hand onto the desk, leaning in close to Chu Xing. Can I get your number instead? Chu Xing's face turned bright red. Oh sure, let's exchange IDs. Shen Qingyan looked at me, her eyes filled with immense relief. I turned my attention to another classmate's photo, added him as a friend, and casually formed a 4-person group chat. To my surprise, this actually triggered the system's multiplayer cooperation requirement. This achievement task was going to be a walk in the park. To motivate us for the exams, the teacher announced a cash prize. Massive rewards for anyone finishing in the top 3. That bonus immediately ignited my hunger to earn enough for high-grade beast meat. As it turned out, that group chat I started had unknowingly completed a hidden quest. Soon, our little circle began to bond. He came from a long line of martial arts masters. Meanwhile, Li Chuxing's family owned a clothing empire, with several branches across the district, making her a certified wealthy heiress. After Han and I shared our own stories, we quickly transformed into a tight-knit squad. Suddenly, Yu brought up a topic that piqued everyone's curiosity. Take a guess who's the strongest in our class? He asked. Without hesitation, Li Chuxing pointed straight at me. My money's on Zik. He was the top-ranked student in the district entrance exams. Yu looked visibly shaken by the news, but his expression quickly turned grave. He warned us about 2 monsters the principal had scouted from Nangguan City. See that guy, Wang Shuji? By the window in the 3rd row? He was the 3rd-ranked prodigy in Nangguan City, clocking a 100-meter dash in just 7.9 seconds. And then there's Lu Gang, the powerhouse in the back row. He was born with divine strength and can bench press 300 kilograms. Han and Chuxing were left speechless. I, however, let out a silent sigh of relief. Those terrifying stats were only at the level I had reached back in elementary school. The school bell rang, signaling the start of book distribution. There were only 4 texts, each covering a core subject. Since I had already mastered these through I used our free period to find a secluded spot to train. The pressure from the Dawn God sect was weighing heavily on me, especially since the police had only captured 1 cultist so far. I needed to break through to rank 6, just to have a fighting chance. That afternoon, our first practical was wilderness survival. The teacher asked if anyone knew how to start a fire with wood. You couldn't help but scoff, in this day and age. Who actually learns that? But surprisingly, Wang Shuji and Lu Gang stepped forward. They began drilling the wood with frantic intensity. Even the teacher was impressed by their dedication and skill. The duo boasted arrogantly, claiming they had mastered such primitive arts years ago. Once they finished showing off, the rest of the class began to practice. I quickly showed my friends the proper technique to spark a flame effortlessly. Next was the martial arts cultivation class, focusing on a unique breathing method. Once again, the 2 prodigies started acting high and mighty. I chose to keep a low profile, having no interest in getting tangled up with them. A month of school passed by in a flash. Our homeroom teacher decided it was time to test our progress. To keep the competitive spirit alive, he put a bounty on the line, 888 yuan, for first place. My eyes instantly lit up at the mention of cash. That prize money was exactly enough to buy half a pound of violent eagle meat. With a reward on the line, everyone gave their all. Coincidentally, the gene fusion teacher scheduled an exam with the exact same reward. By the time the tests ended, Yu was exhausted. Meanwhile, the arrogant duo were busy complaining that they'd underperformed and would only get enough. Hearing their blatant vanity, Yu felt a sudden urge to punch them both. Finally, The results for the mechanical modification exam were released. Han Han scraped by with a 6. The highest score so far. The class erupted in gasps. He sat up straight, soaking in the admiration. However, the teacher's next announcement felt like a bucket of ice water. Lu Gang and Wang Shugi, you two were only one question away from a perfect score. The two immediately bragged that the final problem was just too time-consuming to calculate. If we had 10 more minutes, we would have solved it, they claimed. He fumed. They had successfully stolen the spotlight again. But then the teacher smiled. This test was incredibly difficult. But believe it or not, one student got a perfect score. Lin Zikan, 100 points. The duo's smug expressions shattered instantly. A perfect score. How is that even possible on a test like this? He was equally stunned, never imagining I could completely crush those two academic elites. Without missing a beat, I raised my hand. Teacher, when do I get the prize money? The teacher was momentarily speechless. Don't worry, I'll send it to the class group as a red packet. Then came the gene fusion results. The duo only managed scores in the 80s. While impressive for most, they were clearly disappointed. Han Han surprisingly took a top 5 spot with a. As for me, I maintained my streak with another perfect 100, sweeping the prize money once again. Later, I sent a female classmate flying off the stage. Little did I know, this display of power only made the other girls more eager to challenge me. They thought they could challenge me. Too bad for them, I just secured perfect scores in 2 subjects. This was a devastating blow to the class geniuses. The twin stars were in total denial, questioning how I could possibly achieve a perfect score. They even accused me of knowing the answers beforehand. But the teacher shut that down immediately, as he had personally designed the entire exam. There was no way to cheat. Those answers weren't anywhere online. Seeing the twin stars eat their words, the rest of the class couldn't help but celebrate. Lunch break flew by in an instant. And soon it was time for the afternoon's wilderness survival exam. Like the others, this test came with its own rewards. We were graded on rock climbing, tree climbing, swimming, and starting a fire with friction. Wang Shuji whispered to his partner, determined to reclaim his honor in both wilderness survival and martial arts. Lu Gang was thinking the same thing, vowing to go all out to wash away their earlier humiliation. First up was rock climbing. The score depended entirely on speed, and I claimed first place with 0 effort. Then came the tree climbing segment. I left the twin stars biting my dust once again. However, what caught my eye was Han Hanan surprisingly. Next was the fire starting phase. I had a flame going in just 58 seconds. Finally, it was time for the swimming project. Not only did I completely crush the twin stars, but even Han Han suddenly erupted with a speed they couldn't hope to match. After that grueling series of tests, the twin stars went uncharacteristically quiet. Up next was the true martial arts evaluation. The format was simple: direct sparring. This reignited the twin stars' hope of taking the top spot. After all, in a martial arts class, combat is king. This is where physical limits and combat technique truly matter. No matter how good your other grades are, without martial strength, you're nothing. Before the sparring began, the teacher organized a physical assessment. Starting with a 100-meter sprint. With just a light warm-up, I clocked 7 seconds. Performed a 330-kilogram one-arm lift, and that was me holding back to stay low profile. Still, it left everyone speechless. A top scholar having this kind of physical power was simply unscientific. But they didn't surrender. Losing the physical test didn't necessarily mean losing the duel. They believed their techniques were far superior to anyone their age. With hope in their eyes, everyone moved toward the arena to begin the sparring. To complete the natural selection achievement as quickly as possible, I was the first to step onto the stage. But because of my monstrous physical stats, no one dared to step up. The teacher, losing his patience, decided to take matters into his own hands. He called out Lu Wei to go up and spar with me. Though Lu Wei was clearly reluctant, he had no choice but to face me. He stepped onto the ring, trembling with nerves. To save time, I decided to finish this in an instant. A single punch sent him flying right out of the arena. I wanted to challenge the entire class before the bell rang. I took down every opponent with a single strike. Seeing that I wasn't even going easy on the girls, the twin stars were completely Suddenly, he leaped onto another stage. Pointing at Liu Gang, he declared the warm-up was over and challenged him to a fight. Liu Gang didn't hesitate to jump up, sneering that he could beat Yu into the dirt in under 30 seconds. Yu charged instantly, unleashing a flurry of strikes. But Liu Gang caught his rhythm and managed to seize Yu's leg. With both hands, he hoisted Yu into the air and hurled him with such force that he flew straight out of the ring. Smirking, Liu Gang told the fallen Yu that his techniques were the best he'd seen in class, but his own was simply superior. Seeing an opportunity to boost my achievement progress, I immediately jumped onto that ring. Liu Gang looked panicked, but he forced himself to stay calm, shouting that he wasn't afraid to take me on. He charged at me first. As he closed the distance, he threw a familiar, high-level move. He tried to catch me off guard, but I simply tilted my body and dodged it effortlessly. I followed up with a casual, almost bored punch, ending the match right then and there. The crowd below erupted in cheers and jeers. They started taunting Wang Shuji, asking why he wasn't avenging his buddy Liu Gang. Driven by pride, Wang Shuji had to step up. He climbed onto the stage, but I stood before him like an immovable mountain, my presence crushing his spirit. Knowing he had no choice, he threw everything he had into a desperate charge. I caught his fist with my left hand and countered. That single blow sent him flying, leaving him foaming at the mouth. I continued to systematically take down the rest of the class. According to the natural selection task rules, defeating the same opponent multiple times only counts as one victory. That meant I had to spar with the girls next. I wondered if they would even be willing to fight me. To my surprise, the female students didn't seem to mind at all. In fact, they were all eagerly raising their hands to challenge me. Who's next? Just come at me. I'll make everyone acknowledge my strength. Even that quiet artist girl,